Hello humanoids, welcome to Halfling Hobbies. I'm Halfling Hannah, and today I'm in a different location because this is actually where I'm going to film all of my live streams. I already do this with Roll for Review. If you haven't watched that, there's a link down in the description below. But also this summer we're going to be doing some live stream one-shots with my patrons, which I am super excited about, so stay tuned for more on that. Also, it's been a little bit since I uploaded a video, and thank you so much for being patient with me. I took these 3 weeks to finish my ebook and publish it, and it was so worth it. Guys, I am so excited about my ebook. It's called NPCs for RPGs, Merchants, and Tavern Keeps. These are 25 merchants and tavern keeps along with their shops and taverns. And we're actually going to look at those today and how I made those, and I'm going to give you templates on how to make your own NPCs along with their taverns and shops. Absolutely so happy with that. I poured my heart and soul into that ebook. If you are interested in giving it a look, that's also going to be in the description down below. But today what we're going to be talking about is how I make the resources for my DM binder. If you saw my other video all about my DM binder, there's a whole bunch of different pages in there, and I get asked quite often how it is that I made those. Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how I made those, and I'm going to give you the templates to make your own absolutely free. Those are going to be down in the description below. All I ask is that if you choose to use these templates that I'm giving to you, could you please share them in the comments down below. I would love for this video to be an amazing resource for NPCs, event sheets, all sorts of things for DMs looking for resources. So please, if you use this, be kind and share. And also, you know, if you like Halfling Hobbies and you find this helpful, share this video around as well. That would really help the channel. So, here we go. Alright guys, so here is how I make all of my DM resources. Every page that I put in my binder, I create in Canva. Canva, C-A-N-V-A. This is an online resource. This is not a software. You do not have to purchase anything. You can have this 100% free. The free version of this is just as useful as the paid version. The only thing that you don't get is some of the elements and some of the pictures that are reserved only for the pro version. But the free version of Canva works perfectly fine. Also, you can get a trial period of 30 days for the pro account to see if you really like it. I love it. It's $120 for the entire year, and I use it all the time. And if you're someone who likes to make your own resources, this would be so incredibly useful for you. So here's what you get on Canva. You just go to the website and you can, they say design anything. They are not kidding. You can design anything on here. You've got Instagram posts, posters, Facebooks, logos, flyers, presentations, infographics. There is just an incredible amount of things that you can do on Canva. And all of these templates come free. Absolutely free, and you're ready to use them immediately. Here's what I use it for when I'm DMing and for my DM resources. I use them for my side quests, I use them for event planning, I use them for my ebook, which we're going to look at here in just a second. I made my whole ebook in Canva, and personally I think it looks great. I use it to make my pictures for my website, halflinghobbies.com. I use it to make pictures for my campaign. So I'm running right now Curse of Strahd, and they encountered some will-o-wisps on the road, and I made this picture specifically for that. I use this for everything, and I absolutely love it. So let's look at how I do that. So this is my ebook, NPCs for RPGs, and here is a look at some of those NPCs, which turned out so good, by the way. The art on here I did not do myself. This is by incredible artist. I'll leave a link to her as well in the description. Lots in the description on this video, but yes. So this is how I do it. I have the name, the race, the skill. I love putting skills on my NPCs. I feel like it's really important to understand the NPC more and what they're good at and what they could be useful for. So in this case, they're a master alchemist feat. This can be a feat or simply just a skill. Their shop, I put the shop name on this page so that I can remember it. AC and hit points, very important because, you know, murder hobos. It's gonna happen at some point, so you might as well have it on here for you. I also love to have a quote. This helps me get into this character when I'm role-playing, as I have a little quote here. Character description is what I read to my players when they first encounter this NPC. That way I don't have to think too hard about it. I have this little box that I just read to them, which describes the character. Next is quirk and flaws. I find these super important for understanding the NPC and what they are like. Quirks are something that they just happen to do. A lot of times it's some kind of nervous tic. In this case, for Krang, he compulsively looks at his pocket watch every 5 minutes to make sure that he's on time. And his flaw, this is something that's a little more detrimental to the character overall or can cause some conflict between the NPC and maybe some of the party members. In this case, he is obsessed with propriety and manners, which could cause some conflicts with that barbarian in your group if they don't mind their P's and Q's. Next, I put a backstory and a side quest, and a side quest. This is where I really flush out the character, what they're like and why they're that way, and provide an optional side quest. If my party really enjoys this character and wants to interact with them more, then they can complete a little side quest for them. And then again, in the event of their untimely death, I have items. These are things that the NPC is carrying on them that they can choose to give to the players, you know, if the players are nice, or if they unfortunately die, this is what the players can get off their lifeless body. It's happened more than once. So I'm prepared and I have that on here. I love having all of the NPC things that I need on one sheet. I can't handle more than one page when I'm in the middle of a session. I want all the important stuff right there. So I put all of the NPC stuff on one sheet, and then the next sheet is their shop. In Krang's case, he runs practical potions and tonics. So up here I leave the city blank so I can just fill in the city wherever the shop ends up. NPC name and then their specialty. In this case, it's a vial of vitality. So on this page, you're going to find the atmosphere of the shop. This is the overall feel of the shop when your players walk in. In this case, it's very stuffy and formal. The type of patrons comes next. This can tell you a lot about a bar or a shop or the kinds of people that are often there and who they might meet to interact with. Interesting items is anything that's interesting that's on display that might catch your party's attention, that if they say, I look around the shop, what do I see? It would be these interesting items would be the thing that they see. And then, of course, because it's practical potions, I have a list of potions that the party can buy, as well as some items. And then I have a custom items area that I like to leave blank for inspiration in the moment. Perhaps my party is looking for something and I want them to find it at Krang's store. I can simply write it over here. Or in the moment, if I come up with something additional and random, I can write it on here. And at the bottom of this page, we have the hook for the optional side quest. And then we have random events. This is if the party's just hanging around the shop, they want something to happen, these events could possibly happen at the shop. They can just add a little extra into what's happening. And then at the bottom, I have a nice box for any notes that I need to take while the players are there. And I have a whole bunch of different shopkeepers. I've got fabrics, I've got cutlery, this one's jewelry, black cat jewelry, living items, kind of creepy. I've got Dragon's Fire Forge, that's a favorite on Patreon. This one's one of my personal favorites. This is Ida with Bottega Arcana. Remember, it's an Arcana, not an Arcanta. Just love that. It's partly because I'm a teacher and I'm super cheesy, but I love it. So we have all of these merchants and their shops in this ebook that you can buy and have all of these incredible pages. And then we move on to our tavern keeps. So this one's my personal favorite. This is Linny Grace. She runs a Halfling tavern. And the NPC page is exactly the same. It's set up the same way. But down on the tavern page, you're going to notice that instead of potions, you have drinks. So I have a nice drink list here. And all of my taverns have different drinks and different food to give each one of them a unique and special feel. And of course, all of them have their own tavern special. In this case, it is the Mammoth Mug. This is actually a challenge for your players, and the mug holds 53 ounces of ale. If the challenger can finish it off in one go, they drink the rest of the night for free. I think it's just such a fun challenge, and I've had a lot of fun with it in my campaigns. So that's also another reason this is one of my favorites. And of course, because it is a Halfling tavern, you've got 2 sections devoted to food, because we like our food. Down at the bottom, you'll notice instead of a hook, I have a juicy gossip, because bars are made for gossip. And so the first one doesn't apply to Linny's side quest, but the second one does. And then random events that would happen at this tavern. And then I have a whole bunch of tavern keeps with their interesting and unique taverns. Guys, I spent a lot of time on these and I absolutely love them. And if you love Halfling Hobbies, this is the best way to support Halfling Hobbies, is to purchase this. There's a link down in the description below. So if you want these, you can purchase them. However, if you would like to make your own, this template is also available in the description down below. It has everything that is on those sheets except it's all just left blank, which looks kind of sad when you look at it next to the other ones. But it's all set up for you. And the beautiful thing about this is that the fonts are set up for you. You don't really have to do anything but go in and type and then add some pictures that you want. And Canva makes it so incredibly easy to add pictures. So let's go right over here and let's say that we want to add a picture. So we're going to come over to this sidebar and we're going to hit elements, and then we're going to search our elements and we're going to say we want a goblin. We're going to make another goblin NPC. And then it comes up with a whole bunch of goblin pictures, and you need to scroll through and find the one that you really like. So I like this one, so I'm going to click on this one and it brings it over here. Canva makes it really easy to resize things. You simply hit the corner and you can resize it however you want and move it over here. So we're going to put our new little goblin buddy right over here. And then, of course, I like to do something in the background to kind of bring this NPC to life. So why don't we look for a sofa? Perfect. Now you'll notice that some of these are free, which means even on the free account you can use them, and some of them have a little crown on them and say pro. Those are only for the paid version. You can find lots and lots of stuff that is free and you do not need a pro membership for. However, I find that the pro is very, very useful, and I like not having to have to go with the free ones. But even this right here, this is a lovely sofa and it's absolutely free. So we're going to put a nice sofa back behind here. And again, Canva makes it super easy to move the positions of things. So here, and go to back, and boom, we have our goblin with a nice sofa. And it is that easy to put these really cool little pictures on here. This is part of why I love Canva so much. You can add those wherever you want. If you want to add a little one over there, you can duplicate, shrink it down, and add that right here so that when you print it, it looks nice. Then the second sheet, you're just going to need to put the name of your shop. In this case, we're going to do Sofas by Sophie. We're going to name our goblin Sophie. Why not? And it's going to be a furniture store. And then you're going to fill out the rest of this information, and there you have it. You have your own personalized NPC sheets. Super incredibly easy to do that. You'll just have to follow these templates. If you find that this is too much work and you need some right away, again, you can have 50 of them on my NPCs for RPGs down in the description below. But that is not all I use Canva for. Oh no, my friends. I also use it for side quests. So this is a favorite side quest over on Patreon. It's called The Problem with Goblins. Several of my patrons have run this and they absolutely love it. So for each one of my side quests, I like to start off with a job board posting. This job board posting is something that I print off and I physically hand to my players whenever they say that they go to a job board. I have several of these printed out and they can look through them and choose the ones that they want to go and actually do the quest for. So I always start off with one of these. This is in your template, so you can just go in, change the wording, change the picture, and you can have a whole bunch of job board postings right there ready to use. So I start with this one, that there are goblins have been a menace to our lands for long enough, and the Merchants Guild is wanting them dead. Then down here, I do a one-page quest page, the problem with goblins. I leave the quest location blank so I can put it in whatever city that I want. And then I go on to the main events. In this case, we have a Merchants Guild and we have a Goblin Clan. Those are the two main kind of events that are going to happen. So I describe the summary of the Merchants Guild, the summary of the Goblin Clan. In this quest, they actually are in cohorts, and the Merchants Guild is giving weapons and armor to the Goblin Clan, who then are going and attacking any vessels coming into the city that do not have the Merchants Guild symbol on them, thus driving up the prices of goods within the city and letting the Merchants Guild make a huge profit. In this case, there are actually 3 different endings to this quest, 3 ways that players can complete it. For my murderers, of course, you can just kill all the goblins and be done with it. However, this is very difficult to do as the Merchants Guild has been giving them weapons and armor. Then you can do a fight pit. So this is the one for your players who want that really intense moment. Maybe it's the barbarian versus the goblin chief in this fight pit moment. And that's more their style. You can do that as an option. And of course, for the peacemakers, the ones who would prefer the role play option, you can simply make a deal. And so each one of these is kind of a summary of how that ending would come about for me, so I remember what it is that I was planning. At the bottom, I have important. These are just all the things that are important for the side quest. NPCs, items, and hints and DCs that would come up later that I want to think about beforehand. So all of this on here is a one-page side quest that goes along with the job board posting. When they take that job board posting, I know exactly what it is this quest is going to be about. Now, because this quest deals so heavily with the Merchants Guild, I made an optional page that really dives into the Merchants Guild and their motivations and connections, as well as the NPCs that are a part of that Merchants Guild. This page is optional, but if you are doing anything like a cult or someone who's in espionage, something like that, where you have something that you want to fully flesh out, then this is an excellent page to do that with. And here is what your template looks like. That is available again for free in the description down below. I left the job board posting just plain by itself because this is super easy to change the wording on the seal. This part of the seal comes off, so you can change it out for something else. You can put swords if you want to do the Adventurers Guild instead of the Merchants Guild, however you want to do that. The seal comes off completely if you want to get rid of it. So you can change all of this to your heart's content. Down here, again, everything is exactly as it was in my side quest, only I left it blank for you to put all of your wonderful ideas on, and then here is your optional sheet as well. So you can detail those cults or whatever it is that you want to do. However, that is a one-page side quest. So this is a simple, straightforward, here's your task, complete it. There are times when you may want a multiple session side quest, and in that case, I have created this full side quest planner. Now, this side quest actually hasn't been posted on Patreon yet. It is coming up very, very soon because it's not quite complete, and I wanted to run it before I actually gave it to my patrons to make sure that everything fell the way that it was supposed to. But I'm very, very excited about this. It's called A Cat's Quest. So the side quest planner here, the first page is all overview. Now, in this case, This side quest is meant to be in a series of 3, so it actually needs 3 sessions to complete. Then the first session you uncover the murder, the second you find the monster, and then the third you bring justice. And each one of these is the overview of that, and then down here is the plot overview. This again is just to refresh my memory of all the important things that I have planned as a part of the side quest. Then each additional page goes into the actual episode, so the actual session that this side quest is going to have. So the first one is Murder He Purred, where they find that the very strange cat that has been following them around is actually the soul of a murdered wizarding student named Winston. And Winston is trying to prevent something horrible from happening, and he's trying to communicate with the players as to what that might be. So Winston, first, you have an event that begins this quest and then an event that ends it. I really like to bookend my quest so I know how to start the session and I know where the session should end. So I have a nice little event that begins and ends that part of the session. Then I have scenes. So these scenes occur in between those 2 points. If you use my plot planner, you know that I like to do acts and scenes because it just really flows well, and as an English person it makes sense to me. So you have the overall act and then you have scenes in that act. In this case we have 3 different things that happen, as well as some options for how the players can go about solving the problems that come up. And then down here again I have important NPCs, important items, and important locations that they're going to encounter, along with some just pretties. Because, you know, when DMs are looking at a page, I feel like they deserve to look at something pretty, so I always make them pretty. The second one is the professor in the library with the wand. Am I a dork? Yes, I am. This is episode 2. Again, it's the exact same setup, but not quite done yet because I haven't quite finished this one. And then the last one is how to kill a bone claw. Again, am I a dork? Yes, I am. And then I have the beginning and ending lined out there. Not quite sure how I'm going to go about those scenes. So this is a multiple session side quest, and here is what the template looks like that I have provided for you in the description down below. Again, you just click on these areas and add in whatever it is that you would like to add in there. And of course, all of these are also editable, so if you want this to be something different, you can make it whatever it is that you would like it to be. And the last one is event pages. These are my bread and butter. These are so incredibly useful, and I make sure to release a set of these on Patreon every single month because you're gonna use them a lot. So my biggest gripe with random encounter tables and like websites is that they're not often area specific. So if my players are walking through the woods and I roll a random encounter table, sometimes it'll tell me that they hear a knock on the door. And while yes, I can figure out how to include a door in the woods, it's not exactly something that provides less stress. Often that's far more stressful trying to figure out how to use that. So instead, I like to have areas. I make each one of these pages that is for a specific area, and then I put encounters and events that might happen within that area, and I find it far more useful for me personally. So here's what I do. I have unique tavern specials. So every time they go into a tavern, if it's not one of my NPC sheets that have their own tavern special, then I roll a I only put 5 on it. I was gonna say I roll a d6, but you know, what I most often do is I simply just pick one. But in this case, I was supposed to roll a d6, but I only got 5 of them on there. That's really funny. Next up, I have forest events. So the hook is the little bit that I read to my players. So if I roll this and I get this one, I read the hook to them. So I'd say, just off the path ahead, you see a carved stone statue. It is a kneeling woman, head bowed, hands together, and a veil covering all of her face except for a wry smile. At the base, there are baskets of raspberries, a sack of hickory nuts, and a fresh baked pie, still steaming. And then underneath that, I explain what's actually going on so that I know as my players interact with that, what's really going on. So in this case, it is a statue of Yolanda, which is the halfling goddess of luck and fortune. A small halfling village in this woods brings her offerings. If the party takes them, bad luck will follow them until they return and apologize. If they present an offering, they will have good luck for 24 hours. So I have a whole bunch of these that could happen in the woods. Next up is mountain events. Again, I have a hook and then what's actually happening here. Urban events. And that's all I have on that. However, for your template, I've created a few more for you. So you have your unique tavern specials, but I've also added tavern events. So these are some things that you can create that might happen in any tavern that your players enter. You have your forest events, you have camping events. So instead of just rolling up random encounters every time that your players take a long rest, you can actually do some camping events. Now, I like to make these non-combat. All of my events are non-combat. You can do combat ones, obviously, if you want to on these templates, but I find it's far more engaging and interesting just to do events and not combat. Then you have your mountain, and then your urban. And again, these are super easy to change. If you have a specific city in the campaign that you're running and you want events for that city, simply type the city name and then create all of your hooks and events that focus on that city. So those are all of your templates. Guys, I made a whole bunch of templates for you. I really honestly hope that they help you out a lot. If you really love this and you use this, again, all I ask is that you share with the other DMs who are going to come to this video. Make sure that whatever it is that you make, just go over here to the little share button and click share link and hit copy and put that down in the comments below so that we can all benefit from these templates. And of course, until next time, my friends, may your game have advantage. Halfling Hannah here, signing out.